Hey, YouTubers, Tazman here, bringing you a new episode of something. So, I found this really cool thing, and anytime I find something cool, I want to share with you guys. I'm not getting sponsored or anything by them, but it's really cool, and I wanted to show you guys because one thing that happens a lot and this is in the realms of like Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, TTRPGs, and stuff like that, is getting a group together and playing solo. Obviously, you are the GM and you're the player, and you have to actually, either not read ahead in the adventure or just play stupid and, not act without out of character knowledge, which is okay, but it's also pretty hard. But I found this thing called AI Dungeon. If you go to play.aidungeon.com, you can create a free account, and it lets you do some pretty cool things with the free account. Mostly, the account tiers basically unlock what they call like tokens and how many of these models, the AI models, you get to use. But basically, I guess you'd say you're generating a story together with an AI. And instead of it just generating this ginormous story and you going and adding things in here and there or whatever, it actually does it in little tiny, paragraph or two. And then you add what you're going to do, what you're going to say. You can modify the story itself if you want it to kind of go in a different direction, and stuff like that. So anyway, that in a nutshell is hopefully a good enough teaser for you to come check out AI Dungeon. Like I said, it's free. I will show you really quick. So as you can see, I'm on the page here. But if I click on this premium, because it's free, I always have this button. I do also have an account that is not free because I wanted to do more experimenting and push the boundaries of the AI to show you guys what I've learned. But anyway, if I click the premium, this shows you the different tiers and stuff. So as you can see, with the free, you get 3 story generators. For $9.99, you get 8. For $14.99, you get 8. For $29.99, you get 11. And for $49.99, you also get 11. Now, the biggest changes between these tiers is actually in the monthly credits and the memories, and we'll talk about those in a minute. The other things like the extras, all of them have the same there, but we're just going to quickly peruse through these guys. I'm not going to do as much with the mythic because the only changes from the legend is that it gives you more memories and it gives you more credits, and these are actually the big things. So we're going to focus on 3 of these. One is the free, one is going to be the adventure, and one is going to be the legend, because that's where the big changes. You'll see 8, 8, 4, 4, 2, 2, and then the memories, and that changes. So with the free account, we'll go ahead and expand this, the story generators or the AI. So it looks like you actually get 3, but technically you're getting 2. But what this dynamic small is it actually will automatically switch between the 2 AIs, which are these guys right here, the Wayfarer Small and the Madness AIs. And so as your story is being generated, it will kind of switch between these 2 to actually give you more of a randomness. So like the Wayfarer Small is adventure. I think it said that, death is an option, where Madness will kind of just throw in different elements and stuff. So you don't actually see it switching, but you do have those. Once you get into a paid tier, you actually get 8 generators, which include the small ones, or well, I'm not going to call them small, but you get the free ones, but then you also get the dynamical large, which is another randomizer or whatever, and it will randomize between the other models. Wait, I keep wanting to say engines. I'm really trying to stop myself from saying engines because they're AI models, not engines. So as you can see with this one, you get the Wayfarer Large, the Mistral Small, the Mistral Small 3, and the Hermes 370B. Now I don't know a ton about all these different things. It kind of gives you a slight idea of what each one does when you're actually in a story that you're generating. But I don't want to get way into too much detail because it gets really confusing. You'll notice one thing about it is there's these token mentions. So even though we get Wayfarer Small for the $9.99, we get Wayfarer Small with 4,000 token content. And tokens are way beyond, way beyond this video series. And like I said, I don't know how long the series will go. It all depends on you guys. So this is basically the story generators or the AI models that you get for the $9.99. The next tier up that actually changes something would be the $29.99, and you get 11 story generators. So you get all the same ones as the other ones, but then you also get this Wizard M8X22B, the Hermes 3405B, and the Mistral Large 2. And you can see here that, this is going to generate even more in-depth stories and stuff like that. One thing that, and this has to do with the tokens, is the tokens, just in a nutshell, from what I understand, is what is sent to the AI and then also what is being sent back. So it's kind of like this package, and it can hold X amount of tokens. And if you add too much, it has to throw some out. I think that might be a pretty good way of saying it. I think. We'll kind of go more into that, like I said. All right, so the next thing we have here is the image generator. It does have a AI image generator built into it. I really don't use that in all my experimenting, but that's where your credits actually come in pretty heavily, is the different generators actually use different amounts of these monthly credits. So if we go look under image generators, you can see with the free one, you get SDX Lightning, and it's 1 credit per image. However, you don't get any credits in this. So I'm assuming, actually I don't remember if I've seen anywhere that you can just buy credits. Probably if I click here. You can use credits to generate images or purchase more context. So anyway, like I said, we will talk more about that in a little bit when we get actually into a story. So the next thing is 4 images, which is our $9.99 tier. And if we click on that one, you can see now you get the SDX Lightning, but this time now you get unlimited. So you can actually use this one for unlimited images, but then it's going to cost 2 credits per Flux One Schnell, 10 per Flux One Dev, and 30 for Flux One Pro. And once again, those are these credits. However, with this one, you're getting 480 credits, so you'll actually be able to generate some images if that's what you want. The next one we're going to talk about is the $29.99 tier, and this gives you all of the image generators. So if we click on that, you can see you get all those same ones, but then you also get this DAL-E3 and the DAL-E3 HD, and you'll see that it's 15 and 30. The credits actually look like they kind of maintain the same. It's still 30, still 10, still 2. So like I said, I'm not going to go into memories just yet. But memories are, I guess, to give you, maybe if that will tell us, during gameplay, memories are optimized excerpts of your adventure that the AI references. The more memories, the more cohesive your adventure will be. So the more memories you actually have, the more cohesive it's going to be. And the AI won't have to keep dumping other memories to store new memories and potentially start losing things in the past. And I'll explain that a little bit later as well. So let's go ahead now and talk about the actual interface here we have. So we have home, where we actually start, and once we actually have some stories, they'll be in this first row right here that we're actually doing. Everything else is an adventure. So if you create one yourself, it's called a scenario. And when someone takes your scenario and decides to play it, it turns it into an adventure, which locks some of the customability that you've actually put into it, but they still have some things that they can change. But like if you have scripting or anything special behind the scenes, they don't get access to that. So we have the home, we have discover here, which is all kinds of stories. So if we go under the default, I believe is, trending, not popular, is this one. Now, I experimented a whole lot with one called, I don't even know if it's going to be here, called Slap, or She Slaps You, or something like that. Let's see if it pulls up. No, I don't see it. Anyway, I think I know why. So I experimented with one called Slap, and actually I do know why it's not showing up here is because I turned it to as baby mode as I could. So in here, we can actually see the adventures we can do. We can click play, we can play them, we can see how many people like them, we can see how many plays it's had, we can see how many people have bookmarked it, and stuff like that. We can also click on the actual thing and get more details about the adventure, such as the prompt that starts the entire thing. And the way it works is there's this prompt, kind of like this, and the AI reads this prompt, and any of the info, in this case, you can see it's asking your name, and it's going to ask your age, and it's going to ask your gender in this one. And then it's also going to say, what do you wish for? I think those are the only prompts. So once you've done those prompts, the AI will go and read this little block and generate a random story off of it. And each time you answer, it's going to generate a new component of this story. But it will always keep in memory this chunk right here, which is the main chunk, and it will try and keep tidbits as your story progresses. But that's where you might actually have the issues if you don't have enough tokens or whatever, where it starts forgetting things. And I'm pretty sure we'll be able to show you that and maybe some ways to kind of avoid it a little bit without having a premium account. So in here you can see there's also comments. This is adventures, people that actually did this, that published their thing, which is where you can read them, which is kind of the same thing as if we went back to the discover here, and there's the readable. These are just the main stories and you know, the things that, you know, people have published. So if we look in here and just look at one, maybe do My Hero. Let's see if very many people have published that one. No, that was a terrible example. I only got the one that I was hoping for. How about Heroes Day? No, that sounds like a custom one. Well, here's a good example. So Ruined Fairy Tale. So as you can see, these are all the same one. They have the same thing. However, these are people's playthroughs. And what you're seeing here in the read is, you know, how many likes. This is saying how many actions. Anytime you do a say, you do a do, you do a story action, or you even just continue the story, it's considered an action. That's where you tell the story to continue, or you change the story, or, you know, tell it what you want to do. So you can tell how far some of these have gotten. Like this one didn't get very far. This one's gotten pretty far and probably has a lot, you know, if you want to read a big long story. Let's see, what was I thinking here? Sorry, I'm trying to remember everything I wanted to talk about these. I mean, I have a big list of the things I wanted to cover, but I wasn't necessarily thinking totally about this. So anyway, that's the discover area. You have things that you can play, which are what you're looking at here, are actual scenarios. And it doesn't have to be fantasy themed or anything. Here we have a football one. I've seen ones that are like Pokemon. If we come in here and said POKE, maybe not in the version we have POKEMON. Maybe I have to do that. There we go. So there's the Pokemon. Apparently, maybe I wonder if I did Poke Star. I never checked if it actually did wild cards. Does not look like it does wild cards. All right, so anyway, that's the discover area. Next, once you have an account, this little gift will have a little red dot by it daily, meaning that you can collect a prize. The prizes are usually these scales, but sometimes you also get an avatar. I don't necessarily think it's the avatar they show here. It's just representing that, yes, you get an avatar on this day and so on and so forth. What you use scales for is if we go into an adventure, such as the Quack adventure here, you can, I think it's under more here, you can use those to tip. And you can do that in the stories as well. You know, if you read it and you really like it, you can actually tip. Next, we have their notifications. This is telling you of updates and all that fun stuff. Then we have your little avatar here. Before I go into that, I just wanted to point out one other thing. If you want a real tutorial type thing, you can actually click on this guy, or it will cycle depending on how big your screen is, and it'll just randomly cycle through. When it gets to this one right here that says go to guidebook, this is actually basically all kinds of good information about how to get started, how to use the different elements and stuff. We're going to be going over most of that anyway, but I just wanted to cover that real quick. And then now let's go back to the avatar. So if we click on the avatar, you can see this is the avatar. I don't remember if that's the one I chose or it chose, but in here you can click on the avatar, say edit avatar, and this actually takes you to your information. So scenarios that you've made, adventures that you've made, any bookmarks that you've set, and your trash. When you decide you don't want a story anymore, you can throw it away or hit delete, but it actually comes in here and goes into the trash. If you're completely done with it, then you just click empty and it will get rid of it completely. We also have where you can look at your creator dashboard and edit your profile. The creator dashboard is actually kind of a thing that is in beta still. Right now, because I've deleted everything, it's not going to have any information, but it kind of gives you statistics. And then your edit profile will take you where you can change your name, add a bio, and also choose an avatar. And like I said, I don't remember if I chose mine or just whatever. So that is that section. Then finally we have this play section, and this is kind of a quick start. So if we click play, we have the quick start, which is going to take us into a menu selection where we can choose types of stories and stuff like that. And this recently changed. I'm going to show you what the old one was and where you can actually find it, and then this newer one, which is different. It also has the ability to do multiplayer. I haven't really had much of a chance to do that. I got on it with my son for a little bit, and he got all wacky, and his character kept dying, and then, so I didn't actually die, I'm still alive, and then he attacked his party member, which was me, and all kinds of weird stuff happened. But it was really interesting to watch how the AI handled all that. And then there's create scenario, where you actually create your own adventure. It can be as simple as just creating a paragraph, a small paragraph, that says something like, oh, you realize that you've made some bad life choices as you find yourself behind the wheel of a car speeding away from a bank with the cops in tow. And just from something like that, it will actually generate saying, oh, and the cops are catching up and blah, blah, blah. And you need to, turn corners, all that fun stuff. So it'll just keep on going and going and going. So anything you can really imagine can actually become a story. And if you create it as a scenario, you can publish it, and then other people can play your thing, give you skills, and all that fun stuff. So there we go. That is in a nutshell the interface. But I wanted to go into the settings real quick. So if we come back in here, that was clicking on this actually pulled us to our profile. So if we click on the picture, we come here. Same thing if we click the My Stuff profile. You'll see it pulls us here as well. However, in the settings is where we wanted to quickly look and maybe get a little better idea of stuff that's going on here. So if I click settings, you'll see that it has some basic stuff here, name, password, email, all that fun stuff. But down here is where, if you click this, it'll take you back to memberships. If you want to link accounts to it, you can do that. If you want the guidebook, you can do that. If you want to support them more, or get support, not support them more. If you want to get support, you do that. But we're going to go under the safety real quick. So this is why I'm not seeing the one I was talking about called SLAP. Because right now we have the AI safety set to safe. And what this is saying is the AI is the generation that it's going to do is going to try its best to follow these things, saying preventing sexual, hateful, violent, triggering content, right? This is, I guess you could say, is G rated. Then we have moderate, which reduces some sexual, hateful, violent, triggering content, which is PG-13. This is GPG, I guess. And then mature would obviously be your 18 plus. And when you click that, I'm not sure if it was here or there, you might actually get a pop-up saying, hey, are you really 18? I am not going to have it on the 18. I don't know if I'm going to leave it on moderate, which is just PG-13. I can't control if there's any swearing necessarily in the story. As the AI is generated, it might use some vulgar terms. I don't swear myself. I don't find a need for it. So I will edit what it says to be a much lighter version of that. But I'll also set it to teen. So that's why we're not seeing the one I did. And then some people, this is actually how you see it inside the Discover and stuff like that. So this is what I want to see in the discovery area. This is kind of your default. And then also some people don't necessarily rate their content, and so it's considered unrated. And right now I'm going to have that disabled because that could be the mature or whatever else. We're going to only play with ones, at least for now, in this that is teen and everyone. So if I set those things and then we go back to Discover, now we'll see more, and we should see the SLAP one even. I think if I go to, is it popular? No, it was trending. But while I'm here, here's the old one. It used to be when you click this quick start, it would actually launch the legacy quick start. And I kind of actually like the legacy quick start better. It seems to have more things. So I'm going to show you really quick, and we're out of time, but I just wanted to kind of cover the whole interface in a quick nutshell, show you that, and then actually show you kind of the quick start idea. I'm not going to actually click on the other one. I'm just going to show you the things it does. When I click on it there, or I click the play button, it doesn't matter. But when I pull it up, you'll see we get these options. Now, I'm not going to go into each of these options because you can't get back out. There's no back arrow. You have to actually click the little flame here and say exit game, and then launch it again, and then click the next one, the next one, next one. So I have Notepad++ up here, and this actually has everything that's in here. So we have fantasy, mystery, zombies, apocalyptic, cyberpunk, custom, and archive, right? And these are what the categories inside. So if I click fantasy, I can choose a story where I'm a noble, a princess, a knight, a wizard, a witch, a ranger, a squire, peasant, fairy, rogue. Under mystery, I can be a patient, detective, spy, or doctor. Zombies, I can be a survivor, soldier, or scientist. Apocalyptic, I can be a survivor, soldier, or courier. Under the cyberpunk one here, I can be a cyborg, punk, cop, android. Under custom, it just pulls up a prompt saying, hey, type your sentence. Remember how I said you find yourself behind the wheel of the getaway car and the cops are behind you? You just put that little sentence in there and you play that story. Instead of having to create as a scenario, you just say, hey, I just want to test it. I want to see how it actually plays, if it seems to be fun. And then under archive, Tiger King. Not sure if that's what I'm thinking it is, like the Netflix one. And Quarantine. That one definitely sounds like it might be like a pandemic. Maybe those ones came out around those times. So if we click that little other one, the play button, and then click the quick start, we get actually led to a similar menu. However, it's not the legacy one. As you can see, we had fantasy, mystery, zombies, apocalyptic, cyberpunk, custom, and archive. In the new one, we get fantasy, superhero, modern fantasy, science fiction, cyberpunk, post-apocalyptic, and custom. We don't even get the archive one in there. And you'll see our fantasy is dramatically cut down. There's added chosen. There's still princess. There's one called thief. I think the other one might have been called rogue. There's fallen, which is new, and monster keeper, which I'm assuming probably like Pokemon. Then we have superhero, and all these other ones just seem to have more titles than actually what you're being. So superhero, you have a hero's day off. I guess that's what the story is. I haven't actually gone through every single one of these because I keep getting addicted. Once I get in it, I have to play it out. So anyway, those are just in a rough, and you can pause the video, rewind it a little bit, pause the video there so you can actually see all those things. But I think that kind of covers what I wanted to do with this first video. We went over the interface, went over settings, we went over scenarios and all the other, how to get it, if you want to pay, and all that fun stuff. So yeah, I think we're good. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Aside from that, comment, like, and subscribe. Click that little notification bell. Join my Discord, and tell other people about my channel. Check it out if they like what they see. If they like what they see. That sounds weird. If they like what they see. Yeah. If they like what they see, they can, sub. And that is it, my friends. Until next time, I'll be seeing you later. Bye.